first of all, you should like and subscribe, because that is the most important thing. And when you have done that, we can continue this video and I will explain what happened here. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good day, good evening, maybe even good night where you're watching from. As you can see, it looks a little bit different around here today. And it is because of the happy news that Teemu is out. We actually still have this, but we don't need that anymore. So, the Christmas spirit is out, and the jokes are no more. So, today we'll focus on serious business, and that's CSGO and Dota. We have big news, and we'll go through everything we need to do. Actually, when I think about it, Christmas spirit, we can move at least one of these away. So, let's go to the serious topic of OG entering the CSGO business. It has been a rumor for a long time, and now we're finally there. Alexi B, NBK, Valde, Isa, and Mantu are announced as the new OG team. This is very interesting news, and they will play their first tournament, the CS Summit, starting today. I highly recommend you go and watch that, because that is going to be one hell of a debut for this team. So, moving on with that, we have CSGO entering the last part of the year. We still have Astralis as number one in the world, but we are looking at a situation where Liquid and EG are challenging Astralis, and the end of the year will be very interesting. It will set up the next coming 2020 in a very interesting way, but we definitely have seen Astralis be number one, winning 2 majors, and well, besides that, having a few slumps here and there, there's no discussion. Astralis are still number one. Danish CS is on the top of the world. Besides that, we have other teams. We have the 2 teams with maybe the 2 best players in the world, with Navi and Team Vitality. Saivu and Simple are clearly the 2 best players in the world by most people's standards. So, we'll see in 2020 how these teams can perform, because this far it has been a struggle for them. Besides that, we have 2 Swedish teams actually getting back to, a situation where they can challenge the best teams in the world, and we are looking at Fnatic and NIP. Both have made changes, very interesting changes at that, and quickly after these players stepped into their respective teams, we saw big improvements, and we also saw the departure of a legend like GetRight. But it's probably for the good, especially for these 2 teams, but the Swedish CS scene in general. Moving on from that, we have a few other teams that have been up and coming this year. We have Brazilian teams like Furia, and we also have Mousesports with young players, but also very experienced leadership in the team. We also have 100 Thieves from Australia, who's been stepping up lately. So, with all that said, the end of the year is very stacked. And we all, like I said earlier, we have OG coming into the mix, and we'll see where they can fit in. But definitely, they are looking at a top 10 spot in the world to begin with. Beginning today, obviously, with CS Summit. So that's the news for CSGO. And I would highly recommend watching CS Summit today. Go watch it, it will be really good. Next on the list on serious matters is Dota 2, obviously. And usually we have Teemu talking about it, but he's mostly joking around, and today we are serious. So let's skip the jokes and get right to it. We have the next major coming up in January, and the qualifiers have been played. So we are looking at a situation where the EU qualifiers was extremely stacked, and we had several teams fighting it out since they skipped the first major. So we had a situation where Liquid, Secret, Alliance, and the new team Nigma, which is the ex-Team Liquid, went all up against each other, but there was only three spots to be had. So we have been talking about this before. Team Secret with Matumba Man is a very interesting team, and they showed straight away that they will be on the top of the world when TI 10 comes around. They won all their games, no problems. They looked super solid and moved through. Same for Liquid. Team Liquid has been a team that's been up and down this year, but coming to these qualifiers, no problem. They sailed through. And, well, they are looking at probably, like we have been talking about before, a top 10 team around there at very minimum. The interesting part is that we had Team Alliance and Nigma going up against each other for the last and third spot to the major. Obviously, for both of these teams, that's where they think they belong. And this time around, Alliance came out victorious. That is a very tough start for Nigma, who's a new team. And now they are in a situation where they missed out on 2 majors, which definitely puts the pressure on them to perform in 2020. Otherwise, a spot to TI is by no means guaranteed. However, this is a very good sign for Alliance, who I've been rooting for since the start, and you should know that by now. Very happy to see them beat Nigma, which is or should be a world-class team, and they are pretty much securing their spot as a top 10, possibly even better. Moving on from that, we have the Chinese qualifier, where we had IG or Invictus Gaming once again playing extremely well with their up-and-coming players like Emo. Very, very solid. No problem for them. They made it through to the major, and they are looking at going far, definitely. The 2 other spots went to Vici Gaming and Aster. No surprises. The Chinese scene definitely has a lot of teams that can compete, but Vici Gaming and Aster are showing that they belong in the majors. In CIS, we have a very interesting situation where no teams are stepping up. We are very used to having Virtus Pro being the cornerstone of the CIS scene. They once again made it to the major through the qualifiers, which is a good sign for them, but this definitely is it's kind of a weak sign in general for the CIS team that VP goes through kind of easily with a new lineup, young players. But with that said, the CIS region had 2 spots to be had, and Navi picked up the second one. Their new lineup are looking solid, but we can't expect very much. It's what most people believe, and personally I do too. In the NA scene, we had 2 teams that made it easily through, no question about it, Evil Genius and Chaos. There was really no contenders for them in that qualifier. The contenders, or NIP was the team that should have been a contender, but they underperformed heavily, and this team is looking at a very, very tough road ahead in 2020 to make it to TI, which would be a massive disappointment, of course, with a leader like Peter Pandam. It's they should belong in the T or in the international, but this makes it very tough. Moving on from that, we have the South American region, where Pain and Beast Coast are the 2 very, very dominant teams in their scene, and they didn't disappoint. They made it easily. This means we have 1 region left, and that's the Southeast Asian one. There we had a very interesting situation where Reality Rift made it through quite convincingly together with Fnatic, but then we have the major winners from last time around, TNC, who struggled heavily, and they were almost out in the groups, which is a huge disappointment, but they managed to pull through, and the rumors are that they didn't have any time to practice the new patch, which it makes it obvious that it's hard to play against team who practiced a lot, but TNC is a world-class team. They won the last major, and they should make it through, which made it very interesting when they played a deciding game against Signal. And here we had a very, very interesting situation. Signal apparently got hit by a typhoon in the Southeast Asian region, and they couldn't play because their internet was lagging so badly that they literally couldn't play. So this meant that TNC, quite frankly, got a free win because they played against a team who it was impossible to play. So this caused some drama in the whole scene, and TNC got called a lot of different names. But at the end of the day, there's admins, there's rules to be followed, and TNC takes the 3rd spot from the SCA region. So that means that we have most of the teams ready for the Dream League Season 13 major in Leipzig in Germany. So, as you can see on the screen, you have all teams listed, and that's what we are looking forward to in January. That concludes the news for CSGO and Dota, but to add to this, we have a very, very interesting situation in both games. We have OG coming in to see the CSGO scene. They're going to shake things around. There's a lot of storylines revolving LXCB and his return with a new team. We'll see, will they do better than ENCE? What do you think? Personally, I think they will, because ENCE is a struggling team and they are, quite frankly, a train wreck. So, Dota 2. We have Secret with their new lineup looking great. Possibly they could be the #1 team once again. But as we saw last year, it doesn't matter if you dominate the whole year, because the international is what matters, and we'll have the international being played in Sweden, Stockholm. It's going to be great. That's it for tonight. But I need to tell you, I wasn't being very honest before. Next time we are back, there will be Christmas lights, there will be hats, the Christmas spirit will be back. I can guarantee you that. Oh yeah, maybe even this guy. So, remember, like and subscribe. That is the most important thing you can do, and we appreciate it a lot. So, thank you and good night.